in studio, I welcome our Assistant Town Manager, Mark Ells. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. So lots of stuff to talk about today. We've been talking about this for some time and very excited that it's going to go live on February 29th, as we hear, and that is e-permitting.
Yes, yes. Live to the outside,
yes.
Which we have already gone live internally, meaning that our entire building department is using this e-permitting system, Viewpoint, as our database. And part of why we waited until till late February is that we're going through all of the review of all the data that's in there, making sure that all of the staff and the inspectors are very comfortable with using the tablets and using the database for all the permits. So right now, if you come in with a permit and do it the old-fashioned way, when we get it, we put it into this system. So from our side, it's functioning as a live system. We were going to try to implement a little bit sooner, but then felt that, and especially talking with Viewpoint and talking with a lot of other communities who have hit some real hurdles as they've implemented e-permitting, we wanted to make sure everything was working and everybody was trained, and that's how we established the date. So we're excited about that. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions from people who are pulling plumbing, electrical, and gas permits, and that's the first focus. And then in March, we're going to roll out commercial permits in general, and then in April, we'll be doing residential sorts of permits. So we thought it would be good to do it that way. A lot of our commercial customers are already familiar with this from other communities, and so we're hoping there won't be a lot of questions from the outside. On the inside, we could basically turn them all on right now. But we thought it would be better to do it incrementally. It was recommended that way by Viewpoint, and then in speaking with other communities especially, we thought that was a better implementation schedule.
Sure, and Lori Pearson in IT gave me a tour of the Viewpoint software, and it's really user-friendly. It's a good interface, something that residents can use to look in on permits, and then contractors will be able to use it as well. So I think I'm looking forward to seeing it used out in the field, and I think it's great for the inspectors too, because I understand they're out there with their tablets. Instead of having to fill things out and then go back to the office and do the paperwork, they can do it all on site.
They can, and they can communicate very quickly with comments. So if another department if another department has a comment, they can see what that comment was, and there's a lot of efficiencies gained as we become more and more familiar with this. So it's a good tool for us.
Very cool. So from high technology to nature, aquaculture is something that's big here in the town of Barnstable, really big in the town of Barnstable. And to tell me a little bit about what you're hearing and what we're working on in terms of aquaculture here in town.
Well, we've got an impressive aquaculture program now within our community. I don't know that everybody's aware of that, but through our Department of Natural Resources, we've got a very successful aquaculture program. Whether you're a commercial fisherman or somebody from just a residential recreational shell fisherman, and you can go out there and get all the varieties, both sides, north and south. Barnstable is unique in that it's one of the few communities in the state that has a north and a south side, saltwater resource like that, and it's managed extremely well. So within the aquaculture program, there's been a lot of attention recently, just beyond buying your shellfish permit and going shellfishing, because of the focus on nutrient removal and the water quality in our bays, and we've talked about this for a long time, but until recently, the option of looking at non-traditional approaches to addressing nutrient loading specifically really haven't been there. I mean, the science was, but the state regulation just wasn't, going to allow for that. So I think that the importance of a healthy environment, which includes certainly shellfish and therefore this aquaculture term, but on top of that, the opportunity to look at it for a mechanism to kind of reduce nutrients to our bays has got a lot of attention. And so we've seen commercial commercial shell fishermen, some of the larger ones, come to us. I think we have 2 or 3 pending proposals right now where they want to expand their production. And it's a very exciting time because we're sitting down with our Department of Natural Resources staff. We'll be talking with our shellfish committee and then making recommendations as to what's being proposed, but big picture where we're going with this issue. And again, we've got this tremendous resource that's been well managed, and we see some real great opportunities moving forward.
Absolutely, and from what I understand, we're a real leader in the state in terms of our commercial shellfish base, the number of commercial shellfishermen and what they do here, which is pretty great for us here in Barnstable.
It is, and that's actually the case. It's it's a real positive for us, and we want to make sure that we have a plan that supports that, but also supports the environment at the same time. And I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to do that quickly, and that's a good thing.
Excellent. Capital improvement budget, of course,
Yes.
This is the time of year where everybody's making their requests and kind of taking a look and ranking it. Where are we in terms of getting that capital budget finished and maybe some of the requests that you've seen come through?
Well, right on schedule.
Excellent.
We start that. We never stop the budget, and I know I say that each time I get to talk with you, but it's such a cyclical process that involves multiple years. So we really just start to look at, upon completing whatever we had the resources and got approval for the prior year, we get into, okay, what are the priorities? What are those things that are wants versus needs? Then do we have emergencies, et cetera? We look at the resources we have, and annually we bring forward recommendations relevant to how to proceed on capital. Now, capital is different than operations. Capital are those one-time larger scale projects. They're typically over $50,000 that we would embark on, like replacing a roof or doing a dredge project, perhaps. There's also multiple funding sources, so we're not always just looking at, even though we have an overall capital improvement project, the only source of funding for that program may not just be tax dollars.
Indeed.
We could look at fees, we could look at grants, we can look at other means of revenue that might offset that. So we have to take that into account as we develop a plan. Mark Milne, our finance director, brings to us early on in the process, us being the town management, both schools and the general management, town manager, and our office, what he sees as available revenues and where we might go with a program. And we're always looking in 5-year increments, though when we ask the town council for approval, we're looking in 1-year increments. And so to come back, where are we? We're right on schedule. We've got all of our CIPs in, and we've updated our 5-year projections. And at this point, we're kind of trying to come down to a group that looks at what the school and the school committee's priorities are and what the municipal priorities are and what the available funds are, so that we can make a recommendation to town council. The town council will look for support and input from the Comprehensive Financial Advisory Committee, which is a committee that our Finance Director Mark Milne works with. They review both the capital improvement program and our operating budget. So, there's another group that's involved, very valuable, the input they have. They also have, kind of a long-term perspective on it because they've been involved with it for many years. So it just gives a very important piece of input to our town council and quite honestly to Mark Milne and the town manager's office. So.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, thank you so much as always for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Mark Ells is our assistant town manager for Barnstable this morning.